Alright, welcome back everybody. I'm teacher Nathan from Writers at Work. This afternoon, let's take a look at RGS Weighted Assessment 1 from 2023. This is for Primary 6. Okay, so for today, we'll be looking at 3 different papers because the WA1 papers are rather short. They don't cover all the paper 2 components. So we'll start with RGS first. Then we'll take a look at the St. Nicholas Girls School WA1 paper as well. Okay, and if you'd like to stay on with me, then we will continue to our third paper, which is the SCGS paper. And we will also look at some questions that we left off from last week. Okay, so you'll be in for a very good, intensive Section B practice with me this afternoon. Okay, let's quickly look at the RGS paper first. Okay, this only consists of synthesis and comprehension close. Okay, so if we follow me at the top part of my screen, we'll look at synthesis first. Okay, so the first question reads here, Aisha saw her birthday present. She smiled. Okay, you can see that this there are 2 sentences here and they occur one after the other. So it's very important to identify which one took place first. So namely, she needs to see the present, and knowing that the present is hers, then she smiles. And we have the word on here. So we are trying to tell the audience that action 1 occurred followed by action 2 immediately, one after the other. So it will be on seeing her birthday present, Aisha smiled. This is rather straightforward, so we shall not dwell too long on it. Now look at number 2. Kyra prefers walking in the park to running in the stadium. And we have the word would rather. So when we encounter these 2 words, we need to think of its twinning, which is than, T-H-A-N. Okay? The second thing that we need to take note is which is Kyra's preferred activity. It is already stated that she prefers walking in the park. So this is activity number 1. And activity number 2 would be to run in the stadium. So it will be Kyra would rather walk in the park than run in the stadium. Okay. Now, usually for this kind of synthesis and transformation question, the schools will test you on the prefer to, these 2 twinnies for talking about preference. Okay, so I would say that the question that we just answered isn't the most common one, but you will need to be aware of the different ways they can test you on what we call preferences in your synthesis and transformation. Now look at number 3. Mary could complete all the questions ahead of time. Mr. Chia was impressed. Okay, so this question here is what we call a word form change question. In the original sentence, we observe that Mr. Chia was impressed. So this is a verb. Okay, it's the act of being shocked and saying wow. Now, what we are looking at is to change this verb to an adjective. Okay, very good. Who is this? Referees, is it? Mr. Chia found it impressive that Mary could complete all the questions ahead of time. Yes, very good. That will be our answer. So let me just write it down quickly. All right. So if our friends on TikTok are like refer, you have the answer. Please feel free to type that in the comment section. If you have any questions regarding English or even um, the paper that we are going through, please type them in the comment section as well, and I'll answer them as and when they come. Okay, look at number 5. Look at number 4 now. The weather was bad, but we enjoyed ourselves. Okay, so you can see that the word but here is used to show two contrasting pieces of information. Okay, and you can see that the main cause or the main trigger of the sentence is the bad weather. Okay, so it will be despite the fact that the weather was bad. We enjoyed ourselves. Okay. Despite the bad weather, we enjoy. Yes. Refer. If your answer will also be accepted. Okay. So the idea is you need to tell the examiner that the weather was bad. So maybe let's just take note of this alternative answer. Okay, very good. Thank you for giving the alternative answer, Refer. Okay, look at the last question now. Who took my pen on the table? Jill asked her friend. Okay, when we encounter such direct to indirect speech question, my advice is to always underline the words that we need to change and take note of them first. So in this case, took needs to be changed to had taken. Mine will be her pen on that table. Okay, so it will be Jill asked her friend who had taken her pen on that table. Okay. Now I just want to point out to our friends, the reason why we change took to had taken is because we need to remember our timeline. Okay, I'm sure all of you are clear of the different tenses, right? We encounter this in grammar, but the important thing is to understand how do we derive the answer and had taken. Some of you will tell me, sure, very easy because it's just took. From took, you move one time period back to had taken. Yes, that's true, but we need to be clear that it's not just looking at my verb. The first thing we need to identify is in this sentence that I've drawn with a blue arrow, what is the tense? We all can see that Jill asked, so it is in past tense. So what will happen is you need to go from past tense, you move back one time period to past perfect. And once you have identified its past perfect tense, then you take a look at this particular noun. This particular verb. Okay, and that's how I know that the answer is had taken. Because there are students who are caught off guard when suddenly this verb inside the speech is in present tense. Okay, so this question here is quite lenient in the sense that you can derive it quickly, but for prelim papers with slightly more challenging synthesis and transformation, that's where the issue lies. All right. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information for this section first before we move on to our comprehension close. Oh, it's lagging. On my side, it seems to be okay now. If you have some issues viewing or hearing me, please sound out in the chat so that we can address these technical challenges. Thank you. Okay, there are no further questions. Let's take a look at our comprehension close now. Okay, so Pratibha Nadu learned about environmental sustainability in her school. She decided to make a conscious dash to reduce her carbon footprint. She does this dash taking buses instead of taxis, even if it means more dash spent on the journey. Okay, the first thing that we observe is she is trying to do this activity, which is reduce the carbon footprint. So, what is this action? What is this action? So we need to ask ourselves, what is this word to show that she is um, doing an action repeatedly? Okay, that's the first clue. Second clue we observe is this word conscious, which means that when Naidu is doing this action, she's very aware of what she is doing. So probably she's very clear of the reason that she needs to do, carry out this action. Okay, so when we put these two clues together, our word that we are looking for is effort. Because the word effort here suggests to us that this particular girl is doing an action repeatedly in order to achieve a certain outcome. Okay, and you can see that the outcome is to reduce her carbon footprint. So in other words, she don't want to pollute the environment too much. Next, let's take a look at number 7. We are given a few methods here. Take bus instead of taxi. Okay. And what is this method used for? This method is used to show that, or rather this method is being used to achieve the goal of reducing carbon footprint. I'm back. Okay, hello Reefer. So in this case, it will be she does this by taking bus instead of taxi. Okay. So basically, we are using a preposition here to show the method Naidu is using to reduce carbon footprint. Now we can see that buses is being compared to taxis. And we all know when the bus is stopping at every bus stop, instead of the taxi just driving you to the final destination, it means that she would spend a longer time traveling. Therefore, for question 8, the answer will be more time. Okay, so as a student, you need to infer and come up with the answer yourself. Her school is one of the 4 pilot schools dash the Ministry of Education's Eco Stewardship Program. Okay, so you can see the school is part of this particular stewardship program. Okay, so in the sense, we will say that the school is in the program, which aims to teach dash about the importance of using resources wisely. Now, this is quite straightforward. When we look at schools, the people which are inside the school are known as students. Infrastructure in these schools will also be enhanced with a range of green features for dash solar panels are installed. So you can see that solar panels here is an example of the infrastructure. It's just one type of infrastructure, right? So the other keyword we observe is for. So we're trying to show the reader that I'm trying to give you a particular real life example. So the answer is, for example, to reduce electricity usage for schools to dash their part in saving Mother Earth. Okay, the first thing we observe is their part. So like you're trying to fulfill your responsibility, right? So in this case here, we will say to play their part or do their part. All right. So these 3 words here are what we call collocation, which means that we need to use these 3 words together. You cannot change it to say act on their part. It doesn't work this way. Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Refer. The answer is correct. In Tampines Secondary School, environmental sustainability concepts are woven into the school curriculum. Sec 3 students look into the topic of e-waste by discussing dash themselves how incineration is harmful. Now you can see that this discussion occurs in this particular group. So it's within this group of students that the discussion takes place. So what we are interested in is a preposition to say this discussion takes place with a small group of them. As such, we will say they discuss among themselves. Okay. Now we can talk about how e-waste is harmful and who is this group of people that the e-waste is harmful to? Is this particular group called humans, right? So the keyword that we will write is harmful to the human. This leads to an e-waste drive. Dash the items collected can be upcycled or disposed of correctly. Now, what we're now interested in is this e-waste drive, which is like a particular event or a particular it's a particular event, right? And it's during this event that something else can happen. Here, the items can be disposed of or upcycled. So we are trying to show that during this event, there's a certain activity. So we will say where. Okay. Apart the structured curriculum, students sort up their trash in their classrooms every day. So that you can see that there are 2 different activities ongoing. The curriculum, which is like your lesson, the students also do this trash sorting every day. Now we need to be aware that these 2 actions are of similar ideas. Okay, so then let me just take note. They are similar. And we are given the word apart. So very good refer. So we need to say apart from to show additional information. Two green ambassadors in each class are in dash of ensuring items that can be recycled dash of in correct container. So you can see that they are like have some kind of responsibility. So they very good. Who's this? Cat's rule and yeah, they are in charge. Now look at number 18. We are looking at how the items need to be placed in the correct bin. But you cannot use the word place because of this word of, which comes after the blank. So usually we need to say it is disposed of. Okay. So you need to be very clear about the words before and after your blank. It will affect what you can write in the blank. Okay, Mrs. Sherry, who teaches social studies, hopes daily practices will help you form dash that will stay with them for life. Now, we look at this keyword daily practice. So when something is done almost every day, it will become what we call a habit. Okay? I'm very heartened when I see them dash pride in separating their trash. Now, you can see the word here is pride. Pride is a noun. It's to show that you have that sense of ownership. You're trying to show that, the students are like own their recycling project in the sense that they are very willing to give their best effort. So you'll say they take pride. Okay, cat's rule. Put is for which one? Number 20 or are you referring to number 18? 20. Okay. You take pride in separating their trash. You put in effort in doing something. Okay? So we need to be very clear because these questions here are more challenging because it is what we call a collocation. So there are like certain words that come together. Okay? Okay, I'll just leave this here for a bit for everyone to take in the information before we move on further to our next paper. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask me, okay? Okay, sure, curious method. Okay, so today we'll have two lives. The first one is now. The next one will be at around 4:30 to 4:45. Yeah, we will start by 4:45 p.m. Then it will go all the way until 6:15 p.m. Okay. Okay, let's move on to our next paper. Okay, so we're done with Raffles. We are now looking at our uh, SNGS paper. Okay, maybe before we go into that, we take a look at SCGS paper first, okay? Because we're just looking at synthesis here. Okay, SCGS paper. Look at question 1 now. The students are allowed to use their mobile phones. They must adhere to the school guidelines. Okay, so this is a very rare question, I'll say, but the whole idea is you need to know what is the criteria. Okay, so you can see that the criteria here is adhering to school guidelines. That means you need to follow your school rules. Then you are allowed to use mobile phone. So being allowed to use mobile phone will be your outcome. Now, when you have this word providing here, your criteria will be at the back while your outcome will be at the front. So it will be the students are allowed to use their mobile phones, providing they adhere to the guidelines. Now, some of you may ask, sure, then what about the must here? The must here is used to show obligation, which is similar to our criteria. Okay, so in other words, because we have the word providing, we don't have to use the word must. If not, we are like doing double work like that, which is not what we will do in synthesis and transformation. Okay, because must here shows obligation, and providing itself already tells me that this is something I need to fulfill. Okay, look at number 2 now. You can go to the dentist tomorrow, mother told me. So this is a direct to indirect question once again. Now, you needs to be changed to I can be cool go to the dentist the next day. All right. So the answer will be mother told me that I could go to the dentist the next or following day. Mother told me that I could go to the dentist. Yep, very good. Read first. Now, this is what I meant by you need to check your tenses followed by your time period. Told here is in past tense. Present, past, and past perfect. can okay, you can see that interestingly, the past tense as well as the past participle of can is the same. That's why if you were to just assume it's could, you will still get your answer correct. But it doesn't happen all the time. Okay, so let me just reiterate. We look at the tenses first. Mother told me, so I know it's in past tense. So I look at this timeline, I will look at past tense, and I'm moving back one time period to past perfect. It is only after I ascertain this, then I will look at my uh, the corresponding verb, which is could, and that will be my answer. Okay. Now let's take a look at number 3. I think they left out the word the. Okay. So the celebrity departed suddenly for Japan. This caused anxiety amongst his fans. So we need to ask ourselves, what is the cause of the anxiety? Here, the celebrity departed suddenly. That's why there's this outcome. Okay, and we have the word the here. All of us knows synthesis and transformation is to connect sentences. So please don't be funny and just copy down the two sentences, yeah? Now, when we have the, what is happening is we need to change the word form. Suddenly here is an adverb. So it basically shows a manner in which the celebrity departed, which is very abrupt, like you didn't expect it, right? But what we are changing it to is we'll change it to an adjective. So it will be the sudden departure of the celebrity. For Japan, cause anxiety among his fans. Okay. So in this sense, the celebrity departed. So departed will be changed to departure. So it's again now verb to noun. Can? So you can see that there's a change of the two different words for this question here. Okay, now let's take a look at number 4 now. I had arrived at the airport. I realized I had forgotten my ticket. So you can see that it's very similar to the sequence of events question we looked at earlier today. The first thing that we need to take note is which action takes place first. You need to arrive at the airport, then you forget to take your ticket, one after the other. So it will be no sooner had I arrived at the airport then I realized I have forgotten my ticket. Please be very careful. The then over here is THAN. Some of you may be asking, sure, isn't THAN used for comparison? Well, that's true. But for our synthesis and transformation, when we are using no sooner than, the then is always THAN. Okay, this is the only exception. So please be very careful. Apart from synthesis and transformation, this question may also come out in your grammar. So they will always test you, THAN versus THEN. And many students will fall for the trap and select THEN. And that's where you get your mistake. You get make a mistake. Okay. Okay, look at our last question now. He lost his job as he was lazy. So this is a very straightforward, yeah, very good, Adrian. Due to his laziness, yes, cause effect question. Got the word due to. So the cause is due to his laziness. He lost his job. Okay, very good. Okay, I'll just give everybody some time to take in the information first before we move on further to our next section. Okay. 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 If there are no further questions, we'll move on. Okay. So the next thing we shall look at first is we'll take a look at the questions that we left off from last week. Yeah. So now we'll be looking at Nanyang Primary School P6 paper from 2023. Okay. It's still the WA1. Do you have the dream of blasting off on space adventures? Richard Branson, a billionaire. Sorry, let me just move it to the editing mode. Okay. Richard Branson, a billionaire businessman, achieved his childhood dream in July last year. He flew dash the edge of space. The experience was even better than he had expected. Okay, so if we observe, for this question here, we can see that this is the destination that Richard Branson flew to. Okay, edge of space. So the preposition that we'll use to show this destination is the word to. The experience was even better than he had expected. I have dreamt about this moment, dash I was a child. So you can see the child here is when this dream started. So very good refer. So we will say since. But nothing could have prepared me dash the view of Earth from space. So you can see the preparation is to do something else. The elaboration is seen at the back. So before the view of Earth from space. Okay. Mr. Branson, who is 70 years old, traveled in a spacecraft belonging to Virgin Galactic, a company that he founded in 2004. Before private space travel was available, Dash governments of big countries had the resources for space flights. So if we look at our options here, we are trying to understand, right, that this is the particular group of people, very exclusive. Only these governments of big country can send people to space. Yep, very good, Adrian. So you'll be only the governments can send. Even dash most space missions are carried out dash government agencies. Now, what the text is trying to say is we're trying to show that in the past, right, until now, 2004 until the present day. So we're trying to show the long time period and how governments have been doing this particular action all along. Okay, so you'll be even today. Most space missions are carried out dash government agencies. Now we are looking at how the government agency is the main person that is doing it, right? So you'll be by. Very good. However, Mr. Branson is part of an emerging group of entrepreneurs, dash bold ambitions. So we're trying to say that the bold ambitions is being held by this particular entrepreneur. So you'll be with the bold ambitions to venture into space. Another billionaire spaceman is Jeff Bezos, the founder dash Amazon. Adrian, your answer is W. W, I don't think we have W. Maybe you're trying to refer to with. Okay? Okay, Q. Okay. The founder dash Amazon, an online shopping company. So over here, we're trying to say that this founder is related to Amazon. So you are trying to show relationship between two subjects. Okay, in that case, the preposition that we will use is, I'll give you some time to see. It's the founder dash Amazon. So usually we'll say it's the founder of something. Okay, yeah, very good refer. Space missions sponsored by governments dash mainly conducted for scientific purposes. Take note, missions here is in plural. And you can see that once, others say it is, so this already tells me it's present tense. Okay, so very good. You will say space missions are. Others say it is a huge waste of money at a time dash there are more pressing challenges to solve. Now, the text already highlights that you're looking at a particular event. Okay, so the answer will be when. Okay, P. Okay. Yeah, just give everyone some time to take in the information for this grammar close first before we move on further to our next section. Yep, and thanks so much, Adrian and Reefer, for following so far. Okay, if there are no further questions, then we'll move on further to our editing. Okay, whales are the largest animals on Earth. The massive mammals range dash the 200 kg dwarf sperm whale to the dash blue whale. So you're trying to say that there are different species and also a wide range of species. Okay, yeah, very good, Adrian and Reefer. So in this case, we'll say range from to the colossal blue whale. Colossal basically means very, very big. And it's a spelling error. So let me spell it correctly for you. A blue whale calf weighs 2 tons dash birth and gains an extra 90 kg each day from dash first day. We are saying at this particular time period. It's very specific. Okay. So you'll say at the birth. Since it weighs, Adrian, it cannot be since. If we use the word since, it means that from birth until don't know when is just fixed at 2 kg. Right? But the next part, it already says it gains extra 90 kg each day. So we need to be very clear of your prepositions. When we use the word at, I'm just saying, on the day of birth, the blue calf already weighs 2 kg. But after that, it may gain more weight, and the text will explain further, right? Now, you can see this one, for 44, some of my students are saying that they can't really see the error. But actually, it's very straightforward. It's just its. Because we're saying that the first day, it belongs to the whale. So it'll be its first day. That's all. Despite their incredible bulk, blue whales are surprisingly graceful swimmers. So incredible is spelled wrongly. So this is how you spell it. And very comfortable in deep blue ocean, where buoyancy dash them to surface for air with ease. Okay, so comfortable is spelled this way. Now you can see that this whole paragraph is in present tense. Okay. So it'll be buoyancy helps. Now, why is it helps? Because buoyancy is just a singular subject. Oh, comfortable. Yeah, very good, Adrian. So far, you're on the right track. These giants are migratory animals and travel to where food is abundant. Okay, let's tackle these two spelling errors. Migratory. Spelling error, firstly. Yep. This one's abundant. Okay, so another spelling error again. They feed on tiny shrimp-like animals called krills. Blue whales are found in all the world's oceans and either swim in small groups, dash alone. So you can see that there are two different options here, right? And yes, very good, both of you. So we'll say all. Blue whales have been hunted for many years for their blubber almost to the point of extinction. Okay, this is a spelling error. Only a few thousand blue whales are believed to swim the world's oceans today. Okay, this is quite a giveaway as well. Very good, Adrian. Thankfully, this it cannot be endangering because this is a verb. Now we need to change it to a word form which is an adjective. Right, so you'll say this endangered species. Okay. Yeah, very good, Adrian and Reed first. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information for this section here before we move on further to our comprehension close section. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at our comprehension close now. It was early in the morning. The fire department received a call about a truck in an industrial estate. The blaring dash of the fire truck echoed through the streets. Okay, the first thing that we observe is echoed through the streets, which means it is some kind of sound, then can echo. Very good. I have sirens and okay. It cannot be sound because sound is very general. The truck also, the engine can make noise. You know, the engine broom broom, right? That one also is sound, but not very. It will not echo through the streets. We are looking at the sirens, okay? Or maybe some of our friends may think the horn, right? Beep beep, you know, also can. Signaling for vehicles to give dash as it rush to the side of the inferno. Okay, so you can see when you have a lot of vehicles on the road, the vehicles need to move away. Then the fire truck can move, they can drive through, right? So you'll be give way. Very good. Black smoke billowed from the burning building, and the flames seemed to devour everything dash its way. Okay, everything you basically that you are trying to say that is completely destroyed, right? So over here we'll say it's in its way. Okay, it's just the preposition that we use to show that it's completely. Because I have some of my students that say on its way. Well, we don't use the word on because on shows surface. When we say in, when we're trying to say that is everything. Okay? The fire crew knew that they had to act quickly. Dash they were to save anyone trapped inside the fireworks factory. So you can see that this is a criteria in order to achieve the second outcome here. You know, they need to save people. So to connect a criteria together with the outcome, we'll use the word if. As they dash their protective gear, they brace dash for the worst. Okay, first thing is protective gear here is a noun. It's some object, right? And we are looking at the action and a verb. Sorry, let me just go down again. A verb to show that, you know, the firemen are trying to put it on. Okay, Adrian say war. Yes, war is accepted. Another word that we can say is as they don, D-O-N-N-E-D. Okay, it's the same meaning as war. They brace dash. So you can see that we're looking at fire crew, which is a plural subject. So we'll say that they are very good, brace themselves. Entering the building, they dash a series of unforeseen difficulties. Now, when you enter, you will face something, right? It's like you open the door, then you will see something inside. What's hiding inside, correct? So we will see that they encountered. Or you want to say they face a series of difficulties also can. Okay? So the whole idea is this entering, you know, and how there are different layers or different rooms, right? The floorboards were dash only shaky and vibrated upon each step taken. And upon each step taken, there were explosive detonations that greeted the firefighters. And you see that the word is also not on, it is a word only, right? So usually when we have the word only, we will say not only. Now, why is it not only? Because you can see that there are many descriptions about the floor. They were shaky and vibrated, and there were this explosive detonation. That means there were loud sounds as well, correct? So these are similar info. They show you how the house looks like, right? And therefore, in order to connect them together, we need a conjunction. And the conjunction is not only. Okay? We don't use it very often in our essays, but we need to be aware that there's such a thing that occurs, that we need to be aware of such a conjunction. Okay, look at number 62 now. Nevertheless, the firefighters had to navigate their way, dash the chaos with bravery. So you can see that the chaos is like in between, you know, from the fight where the firefighter is to their end goal, and there's a chaos like along the way, correct? So it will be they navigate through. Okay, Adrian said into. Navigate their way into the chaos. Okay, for this text over here, we are not looking at how they are going into a building now. Okay, you can see that the going into the building is at the start of the paragraph. Now, this sentence that I'm looking at now, which is like towards the end of the paragraph, actually is telling the reader that my fireman, if you can see my diagram, has to finish and face all the difficulties, right? Which I drew representing with a red box. Can you see this? So the fireman had to go through all this in order to achieve the goal. The goal is to put out the fire to save people. So this whole action, from this start point to the end, and you must overcome this red box. The preposition that we use is true, or they need to make their way in the chaos. It cannot be into. Okay, so this is slightly more tricky. In the end, they managed to rescue all of the trapped dash thanks to their expertise and unshakable determination. So expertise here just refers to their skills. Peoples. Okay, people's not accepted because it's a very general term. Firemen are also people, correct? But what we are looking at is the victims. Why do I use this word? Because we're looking at the people who are affected by the fire. Okay, if you are observant, you will notice that they talk about how this is a firework factory, right, in the previous paragraph. So you can say that the people they rescue are the trapped workers. These are the people that work at the factory. It had been a harrowing experience, but the fire crew knew that it was dash in a day's work for heroes like them. Now you can see this is actually a collocation to show that this is something that they do daily. So you will say it's all in a day's work. Worth or normal. It was worth in a day's work. Cannot worth in a day's work. It doesn't work this way. Okay, if you want to use normal, it makes sense. But you look at what the text gives me. In. You cannot be normal in a day's work. You can say normal day's work. Okay? So you need to be very clear. The text gives me additional words, means I need to only use certain words as my answer. Okay? Now, some of you may not be very familiar with words like all in a day's work. I never hear this before lecture. It's okay. If you have a notebook with you, write it down. And you also can write down the meaning. Okay, I find for you now. So all in a day's work, what does it mean? It basically is an idiom to show that you do not mind doing because it's part of your work. Okay, the meaning is here. Something you do not mind doing because it is part of your job. Okay, so for my students, what I like them to do is to buy a notebook, right? Write down all these vocabulary, idioms, phrasal verbs that you learn along the way. Because you realize, English is, some of my students say, English is like anything under the sun, right? The teacher can take an article from somewhere and you have no clue about what the article is talking about. Right, but the truth is, if we are to look at papers, PSLE and prelim papers, you realize that there are trends. Even among different schools, the words they test are actually quite similar. And how do you compile that list of words that will be tested? Through writing in a notebook. And that's how you learn. You need to write and revise your notebook. Okay. Now, moving on, let's take a look at number 65 now. Eventually, the fire was dashed and lives were saved. Extinguished. Yeah, very good. The fire was, yes, good. Okay, and likely we can say that the lives were saved here is the keyword. It tells you that probabilities out. What is out? You mean put out? I don't have the word put here, Adrian, so I cannot accept out. Unless I have the word put, then with the blank, then put out, then it's accepted. Can? Investigations revealed the dash of the fire to be a cigarette lit by a worker. So basically, we are saying that the cigarette here is how the fire started. Okay, so we can say the cause or the source of the fire is the cigarette. Dash took a puff during his short break inside the factory. So now worker here is a human being, and this worker, which started the fire, smoked during his short break inside the factory. Okay, so we will say who took a puff. Took here is a verb. So we are saying that the worker, the subject of the sentence, is engaging in smoking. Okay? He did not snuff out his cigarette and dashed off it carelessly by throwing it near a pile of old fireworks. Now, this throwing near a pile of old fireworks is your clue. It tells you that he doesn't want to use that cigarette butt anymore, right? So you will say he's disposed of. Please be very careful. There's the word off here, so we cannot say throw. Throw needs to be paired up with the word away. Okay. Okay, and then we are done with this comprehension close. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information first before we move on further to our next question. Okay, if there are no further questions, let's move on further. Okay, we're going to take a look at our third synthesis and transformation now. Kai-En is stubborn. She refuses to heed her sister's warning. Okay, so the word that we, conjunction that we have is because. Okay, and because is used to show reason. So you can see that there is an outcome here. You don't want to heed the sister warning. And the reason is given at the start, stubborn. So it will be Kai-En refuses to heed her sister's warning because of her stubbornness. Okay? Or you can say because of the fact that she is stubborn. Both are accepted. Okay? Now moving on, let's take a look at number 70. The dog sensed the presence of a stranger. He began to bark furiously. Okay, so you can see that there are two different actions that take place, one after the other. Is writers at work live every day? Well, we can, if we look at our TikTok schedule, we do have sessions every day, right? But it may not be at the same time every day. So you can refer to our Instagram page, and the schedule is over there. Okay, but broadly speaking, for the next week, I'm taking a look at my schedule now. We are looking at July, yeah. Okay, for July, it seems like, give me a quick sec. Okay, July. Okay, for July schedule, we have our sessions from 4 to 5:30, as well as 5:30 to 7 on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th July. Okay, so essentially, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 30th July, there's not, we also have sessions. Okay, so 30th July, that means which is 30th June, which is tomorrow, we only have one session from 5:30 to 7. For 1st to 4th July, it seems like there'll be lessons and sessions from 4 p.m. onwards. Yeah, to answer Refer's question. Okay, very good, Adrian. Sensing the presence of a stranger, the dog began to bark. Yep, very good. So for our question 70, Adrian has given us the correct answer. So well done. So sensing the presence of a stranger, the dog began to bark furiously. Okay, so I just want to share with everyone. You can see the word sense is changed to sensing. So this sentence, or the answer, or the teacher already wants you to have this as our first answer. Okay, so it's just a matter of changing the verb and copying down both actions. Okay, so I wouldn't dwell too much on this question. Okay, look at number 71. Ben did not make it past the singing audition. Ali did not make it past the singing audition too. Now, the word given is neither. So we need to follow up with its twinny, which is nor. So it'll be neither Ben nor Ali make it past the singing audition. Okay. Okay. The word neither here already tells you it's a negative connotation. That's why we don't have to write did not. Okay. Refer neither did Ben nor Ali make it past the singing audition. Yep, very good. Okay, look at number 72 now. The box was too heavy to be lifted. Okay, the too here is used to show emphasis that something is really, really heavy, right? Now, the question, the teacher uses the word so, right? And actually both serve the same purpose. So it will be the box was so heavy that it could not be lifted. Okay. Box was so heavy that it. Okay, please be very careful. The question is in past tense, Adrian, was. Therefore, my answer will be it could not be lifted. Can? If the question is the box is too heavy, then your answer will be correct. But because it's past tense, we need to change accordingly. Okay, look at number 73 now. I ate too many fried chicken wings. I ended up with a sore throat. Now, the word from here means that I need to show the examiner where's my source. The source of sore throat is in front here. Too many fried chicken wings. As such, I will need to share with the examiner my outcome first, followed by my source. So it will be, I ended up with a sore throat from eating too many fried chicken wings. Yeah, very good, Refer. Okay, last question. Bala asked his father, can you help me with my homework? Okay, question mark. So it's a question, right? Direct to indirect speech. When there's a question mark, the first word that we always have is whether or if. Okay? The next thing that we need to do is to identify the words that we need to change. Could you help me with my homework? So it will be, could he help him with his homework? If he could help him with his homework. Hello, April Wong. Ask his father if he could help him with his homework. Yeah, very good, Refer. Okay. You just need to be very careful. Two things. Number one, if there's a question mark in the direct speech, we need to always change it to whether or if. Second thing to take note, you can see that the first two words change. Okay, can you notice that? Can you need to be whether he can or you can. Okay, we need to always change the position of the what we call modal auxiliary verb. Okay, which one will you use more, whether or if? It doesn't make a difference. Okay, some of my students are very careless. They have issues with spelling, so I just tell them just use if, two words or two letters only, right? So if you are the kind of student that is very careless, or maybe you have some trouble spelling it properly, then I just tell my advice is just use if. All right. Okay, so I'm very very careless. Okay, then in that case use if. Okay, April. Then you will not encounter spelling errors, so you can get your 2 marks. So I just repeat again, two things. If my direct speech has a question mark, your starting will always be whether or if. For our friends who are very careless, just use if. 2 letters only. Sure cannot spell wrong. You sure cannot spell it wrongly. Second thing, you need to change the position of your modal auxiliary verb. What is that? Can, could, might, these kind of words. So when it's a question and you're changing it to a statement, right, with a full stop at the back, you will need to change the position of your modal auxiliary verb. Okay? Okay, I'll just leave this here for a few moments. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask me. Okay? Okay. If there are no further questions, then thank you so much, everybody, for joining me on our Writers at Work TikTok. I'm teacher Nathan, and I'll be hosting our second TikTok at around 4:30 this afternoon. So if you are keen to follow up with another paper, yeah, end already. We started at 2:55 today, right? But April, don't worry. Feel free to join our next section. 10 more minutes. We started earlier today. Okay, bye bye. I'll see you guys again if you guys are keen at about 4:30 to 4:40. 4:40. Okay, see you guys around. Bye bye.